Welcome everybody to the Father Son Talk Sports Show. This your boy Paul here with Dad to me, Paul to you.
Hello everyone.
Hey, what's going on, Pop? How you feeling, man?
I'm good, man. What about yourself, son?
Man, taking it easy. You know, it's the first day of school, so all the kids going back to school. You got kids getting dropped off at different times, you know, like they're running behind schedule. Chase forgot his Chromebook this morning. I had to go and drop it off all the way, you know, at the school, and I went to the wrong door. I mean, it's just crazy, man. Crazy.
Well, the beginning of the school year always has its little ups and downs, man. So you just got to go with the flow, son.
And that's what I figured. I looked over my wife. She normally get frustrated, but she wasn't even frustrated. She was like, you know what? It is what it is. So here, I mean, a lot of stuff is going on, definitely like it always is in our world, in the Cleveland sports world. The Browns had a preseason game, and I actually sat there and I watched the whole game, first to fourth quarter, every play. I sat there and watched it like it was a regular season game. But I just wanted to get a feel for the players that were going to be, for the most part, contributing on Sundays. You know what I'm saying? Some of the players were out there that are going to contribute on Sundays. So I wanted to see what they look like. And I was pretty impressed. I mean, I came away really, you know, impressed with Jerome Ford. I mean, he made some moves in the hole. He showed burst that most running backs don't have. He has live legs. He has great vision. I thought he showed good power too. I mean, he looks like he could definitely be a compliment back. You know, in our offense. What you think?
Man, I totally agree, man. I know our running back room as a whole is really, truly ridiculous with talent. I thought that Jerome Ford played a wonderful game, and he kept his head up, and his ability to elude tacklers was awesome. You know what? One of the interesting things when we're talking about the running back room too is like what we're going to do with Kareem Hunt. I understand that Kareem wants to get paid. I know he wants to play more. I'm quite sure that there might be a landing spot for him in the NFL or around the NFL where he could be the number one featured back. I'm just not sure that with all of the talent that the Browns have amassed at that position, that he can have such a big salary number on the salary cap, or for the Browns management to justify what you think.
I mean, you can't. I mean, ultimately, unfortunately, and he's a versatile back. Don't get me wrong. He can catch the ball out of the backfield. He's a great blocker. He does a lot of other things besides just run the ball. But at the same time, he still plays a position that has been valued around the league as a dime a dozen. So it's the easiest position to plug and play. You put somebody in there and you get the life out of them, or, you know, like they run, and, you know, most teams have competent backs. It's not like before where there was a true disparity, I think, with running backs. Now, you know, you still got the top backs, but, you know, mid-level backs, I mean, you can get along pretty well with a mid-level back in this league. And I think that Kareem Hunt did the math, like you always tell me, pretty quick. And he found out that, you know what, there is some talent here. I do have 1 year left on my contract. I might want to get out there so I can ball because, you know, these guys can actually play behind me. So it's a good thing for us. It's not necessarily a good thing for Kareem, because I feel for Kareem. I love the way he goes about the game. I love to watch him play. But at the same time, he's in a real bad spot because he's not going to be the featured back in our offense. And he's not going to get paid like a number one back, like he deserves to get paid, because he can get that on the open market. Unfortunate, right now he's not on the open market. He can help us. We don't need to just trade him away so that he can help somebody else. I know that that's cruel, and that's not really helping him. But at the same time, we need all the help that we can get. I mean, we need weapons on the field. Even if you traded for Jimmy Garoppolo, why would you trade away a potential weapon for him, or trade away a weapon that Jacoby Brissett needs to be great, or Josh Dobbs if he plays, or whoever? You want to have as many weapons on the field as possible. So it's unfortunate for Kareem, but it's fortunate for us, I guess.
I mean, absolutely, it is unfortunate for him because I believe that he's a kid that's been raised in Northeast Ohio, and he's loved the Browns probably all his life, and he looked at it as an opportunity, and the Browns gave him an opportunity after some of the falling that took place in Kansas City to revive his career. And I know that if the numbers can get to where they're fair to him and fair to the franchise also, then I think Kareem will stick around. But in the same breath, though, football, we know that careers only last a short period of time. And one thing that NFL players have to do is when they have the ability to go on the open market and make their money, they have to.
Yeah.
Just because of the nature of the sport. I mean, it's just that way.
Yep.
One of the other things I took away from the last preseason game is that it's completely obvious. No matter how much talent Deshaun Watson has, he still is going to end up being rusty. He needs game reps.
Oh, yeah.
And that's not something that can easily be forecast for him, of course, because of the possible suspension that's headed his way. And I'm not really sure if he might even be able to achieve his true potential this season.
Yeah.
At all.
No matter when he comes back.
Right. He's missed the better part of 2 seasons.
Yeah.
And there's nothing like game reps for preparation. The game moves at a fast pace. You have to be able to make decisions on the fly, and if you haven't been in that situation for a while, it's no way for us to really truly expect him to be at his top-notch level.
Yeah, I mean, even for a player like him, I mean, he's a great player. Like I said many times, I wanted him when he came out of Clemson, but at the same time, you're not getting the same player right now that came out of Clemson and that had that, led the league in rushing and, led the league in passing in 2020. He's just not that guy right now, and you can't really blame him for it. I mean, he hasn't played in 2 years. So at the end of the day, it kind of sucks, but at the same time, if he gets 8 games, if he gets 10 games, I think that it was a humbling experience for me to understand that as a Browns fan, you can't just say, okay, we got Deshaun back, now we can win. You're going to get Deshaun back, and he's going to have some of those things that are just innate, that's just built into him. But at the same time, he's going to struggle with accuracy. He's going to struggle with pocket awareness. He's going to struggle with knowing the offense because, like you said, game reps cannot be manufactured or they can't be forecasted for him. We don't even know how long he's going to be out for. So it's just a tough situation, but that's even more reason why we got the momentum going forward with the guys that are actually going to be on the field that don't have this dark cloud hanging over them. So I think we just got to roll with what we got and just go from there. There was other standouts on the field as well. I know, like I said, I was watching that Isaiah Thomas guy. Man, that if he can go in on defense and wreck a game like that, coming off the bench, spelling Jadeveon or Myles Garrett, that could definitely be a game changer in and of itself because you know that this league is all about the quarterback and going after the quarterback. So, if we can get after the quarterback with another guy, that would be a big plus for us.
Right, and once again, we're in agreement. I think that Isaiah Thomas played a wonderful game, and he showed his presence off the edge. And that's one of the things that the Browns need. They especially would really be fortunate to be able to develop it out of such a young player. I think that the Browns roster is absolutely loaded. Going forward, the Browns can win games with competent quarterback play. The Browns have the ability to run the ball from multiple sources. They have the ability to have more than capable tight end play with Njoku and Harrison. And I just really believe that the Browns can win games
Oh yeah.
Right, I even remember you had just mentioned that Denzel Ward just cracked the top 100.
Yeah, I thought that was dope. That's nice.
It's well deserved.
Yeah, that's well deserved.
I know I've listened to Jamar Chase, and T. Higgins, and they were talking about the matchup against the Browns and how Denzel Ward is really truly an exceptional quarterback that has shut them down. And a lot of times, I really truly think that Denzel goes overlooked for what his talents truly are. But when you put him together with Greg Newsome, I think the Browns have the most formidable pair of quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah, I mean, definitely one of them. I don't know if they're the most formidable, but at the same time, they're definitely a strength of this team. I think the defense as a whole will be a strength on this team. But one player in particular that I don't view as a strength on this team is Anthony Schwartz. And I know I talked to you about this off the air. I don't think that Anthony Schwartz is ready for prime time. I don't think that he will ever be ready for prime time. He just looks to me like a one-trick pony, somebody who can catch the ball, get tackled, or if they don't catch the ball like they didn't do in the preseason game, in this preseason game that we're referring to, just drop the ball, and drop passes just wreck drives. I mean, you go from a potential 2nd and 2 to a 2nd and 10. I mean, the difference between that is just night and day. It's the difference between keeping the drive alive and having to punt the ball away or putting yourself behind the chains. And I think that, from an injury standpoint, he hasn't been really reliable. And in his hands, every time I watch him, I never see him have reliable hands. And I think that that's the one thing that I can fault him for. So, I mean, if I was Browns manager, man, obviously I'm not, I would see the writing on the wall, and I might have to part ways with him now. Me.
Absolutely, and I totally agree with you, Pablo, on that. The drop passes that took place in the first quarter of our preseason game, they just magnify him being the hands of stone. I mean, he can't catch. And the number one job for a receiver is to catch the ball. And he just has never developed into a receiver. This goes all the way back to him being in Auburn. Just because you have flatline speed or Olympic speed, it doesn't make you a receiver. A receiver has to catch the ball. There are certain qualities that he does not have that a receiver must have. And I'm with you. I think that Anthony Schwartz is never really truly going to develop into being an NFL football player, period.
No.
And I would part ways.
Yeah.
That brings upon an interesting question to me. Also, we were talking about the running back room being stuffed with talent. Our wide receiver corps is still questionable to me. Yeah. What do you think about it?
It's definitely questionable. I mean, here, outside of Amari Cooper, you don't really have an established receiver to turn to. I mean, Donovan Peoples-Jones, I mean, he had a chance to really make a step last year. I thought he took a step back last year where, he really could have stepped forward. Kind of akin to, like a Juju Smith-Schuster a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Like where he has a lot of potential, but it's like he just won't take that next step. And I think this year is really like a hinge year for him, so to speak, where he could go one or two different ways. He could either ascend or he could just become, he's just going to be that flatline player. But outside of him, I mean, you got David Bell, who's a rookie. He's reliable. I hope he doesn't have hands of stone. I don't think he does. But at the same time, he is a rookie. I mean, you only can rely on a rookie to do so much. So, I mean, I think that they're going to rely on Njoku a lot this year. I think the contract that he signed predicates that, and I believe that the running backs are going to be, used a lot. Between, two tight end sets, I think between Harrison Bryant and Njoku, you're going to see a lot of looks that way. a lot of safety valves for Jacoby Brissett, and especially with, like I said, with the back. So I think they got a lot of different ways that they can go, but I would not count receiver as a strength on this team.
I totally agree.
No,
I didn't mean to cut you short.
No.
I totally agree.
Oh yeah.
I think that, in my own opinion, I've heard a lot of talk about bringing in Jimmy Garoppolo and another quarterback, and I believe that the wide receiver position, for someone to tear the cap off the coverage, so for someone to have speed and be able to catch the ball reliable, is needed in this offense. Because right now, if I was game planning against the Browns, I would put 8 men in a box, just like last year.
Yeah.
And I would make sure that I position all my players to stop the run, and still dare them to beat you with the pass, without having someone to stretch the field, which right now I don't think the Browns have. It just compresses everything down to make the strength of our team, which is going to be our run game, without, of course, Deshaun Watson and the quarterback play we're going to be looking at. We're going to be looking at Kobe Brissett.
Yeah.
He's going to be our quarterback.
Yeah.
But you still need a receiver to be able to stretch the field. And I'm not sure that person is on the roster.
But you know what? What it kind of showed me is that not only do you need the receiver to stretch the field, but you also need the quarterback to get them the ball. And that's what I was, that's kind of why I was really such a proponent, and still am, for getting Jimmy Garoppolo, because like the pass that Deshaun Watson missed, I think he went 1 for 3 or something, for 9 yards. Those plays need to be made. They don't need to be overthrown. They need to be on-time passes. And I've seen Garoppolo on many occasions make on-time passes, and I think that those can help and assist in stretching the field, because at least you'll know that the quarterback is accurate, versus the quarterback can't deliver the ball, so it doesn't even matter. Like, that's a non-factor. So really, let's just shut down the run game, because the quarterback can't do anything. And I think that wouldn't be the case with Garoppolo as much, because he can throw receivers open, versus like a Brissett or, to a lesser degree, Josh Dobbs, because nobody really knows what he could do if he had to be on the field. He did look impressive, by the way. I like the way he composed himself and drove the team down. It looked like he had a command of the offense, really. But with that being said, I think that receiver is definitely important, but I think always, which is more important, is the quarterback. And I think that if we had a competent quarterback, like a not rusty Deshaun Watson, or a in the game Jimmy Garoppolo, I think that would serve us well. Really would.
And I totally agree. I mean, I agree to the most point. But you need to get Garoppolo here immediately.
Yeah, it is not going to happen. They're not going to do it. They will not do it.
You need for him to be able to learn the playbook, for him to be able to get into the practice, and to practice with these players and this team.
Yeah.
And he's also coming off an injury.
Yeah. So
therefore, when you look at all that stuff, you got to be able to evaluate what your needs are. I understand. Believe me, Jacoby Brissett or any quarterback that we bring in at this point is only going to be average at best. That's just my beliefs. We're not going to bring in anyone that's a high caliber or high output quarterback. But with that being said, I just believe that the Browns can serve themselves well, and I believe that receiver is a position that you were able to upgrade through the waiver wire and free agency, right, faster than you can at quarterback.
But see, that's where I don't agree, because we have current history that shows that upgrading the receiver without upgrading the quarterback does you no good. Remember when we had Odell here, and everybody was so excited about having Odell here. But we didn't do anything with him for 2.5 years. That's because the quarterback couldn't do anything with him. And I think that's what I mean. If we had, and I believe that Garoppolo is a high-level passer. I mean, I really do. I don't think that he is the final piece of a Super Bowl team. I don't believe that. But I do believe that he's a high-level passer. You could be a high-level passer, but not be the player that can go over the top to win a championship. Kind of like Dan Marino or something.
I saw you disagree with that. Because if he was a high-level passer, he would still be the starting quarterback for the 49ers.
Yeah, but see, it's a youth movement, though. See, it's all about, Trey Lance is on a rookie deal. Trey Lance is under control. Trey Lance is not, making Garoppolo money. Garoppolo is in the money. You know what I'm saying? So you have to, I think this league's formula for success is draft young quarterback, do damage during young quarterback's rookie years, and try to build your team up. And then when the rookie gets to the point where he can get paid, hopefully you have a competent team around them after you shed some of the players that you built up with that cheap contract. And I think that is really no simpler than that. I mean, Garoppolo hasn't done anything egregious in San Francisco. He really didn't.
He's still just a game manager, though. He's still just a game manager.
Yeah, but he got to the playoffs, though. He guided them to the playoffs, and I don't think they could have did it last year with Trey Lance at quarterback. I don't think Trey Lance at quarterback gets that team to the same place. I don't think there's a lot of quarterbacks. I don't think if you put Baker Mayfield on that team, I don't think that he makes it to the playoffs with the same team.
And see, I believe that the Browns, I believe that Jacoby Brissett could be the game manager to make plays here and there, to rely on the running game and the total talent of the offense. I think that Brissett can do that. He's a veteran quarterback. I think that he can be an in-game manager, which the Browns need. I think that he can make some throws that can keep the drive going. And then hand the ball over to the defense if you have to. Instead of just having you go 3 and out. I think that he can manage the game where he can get a couple first downs at least to change field position, to put the defense in a advantageous situation where the offense can score points.
I think you're gonna see a lot of 3 and outs. I think you're in store for a lot of 3 and outs. I don't really see. I mean, Jacoby is not that explosive passer. He's just not a game manager. I mean, if he's going to be a game manager, well, I mean, I'm not looking forward to that because, like I said, he's not an explosive passer. He's not somebody who is a high-level player. Like you just want him to not mess up. And in football, when you want somebody to not mess up, then that means that you expect them not to necessarily excel. You just don't want them to mess it up.
I mean, we had a quarterback who threw interceptions.
Yeah, but you had an injured quarterback though. I mean, the guy was still injured. I mean, I get it. Believe me, I understand because we're just throw the injury season out. Even outside of injury and the first game, because he wasn't injured for the Kansas City game, he was still inconsistent. He still made the critical error. I get that. But what I'm saying is he was still more of an explosive passer than Jacoby Brissett is going to be. Than Jacoby Brissett will ever be. So we're just asking Jacoby just to hand the ball off. But like you said earlier, you don't have the receiver room to even be respected as like you're going to pass. So you need a high-level passer. You need somebody that can fit balls in the tight windows. And I know you're not telling me that Jacoby Brissett can fit balls in the tight windows and throw receivers open, because that's not going to happen.
I'm not implying that at all. What I'm trying to imply is that to me, Jacoby Brissett almost equals Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh,
In my opinion, his physical talents, he's able to avoid the rush better than Jimmy Garoppolo. His health right now is better than Jimmy Garoppolo's. And Jimmy Garoppolo has only always been just an in-game manager. That's it. That's what you get. That's his ceiling.
That if you watch those two players play, if you watch them play, you watch Jacoby play, and you watch Jimmy Garoppolo play, you cannot tell me that that is the same player on that field. Not 100%. No way. There's no way that you could see the same player on that field. I mean, Jacoby Brissett, I mean, I haven't watched him play for an extended amount of time. Honestly, I haven't. But what I did watch is the essence of average. And your argument about going away from Baker in the first place was to not be average. But you're running to average. And it's really below average because he's worse than Baker. Baker's better than Jacoby Brissett. But at the same time, I mean, you don't have Baker. So that means that you have a worse quarterback than the one that you had when he was healthy. And Deshaun is rusty. So what I'm saying is that Jimmy G is in the game. I know that he's a little bit older, and he's, he hasn't really achieved a lot in the league, but he's had a high level of success, and he's a high level passer. And I think that those things will take him far.
Jimmy Garoppolo's career win percentage is good.
Yeah.
I mean, he carried a team to the NFC Championship game.
Yeah.
And I completely understand that. But he had playmakers in San Francisco that if you were able just to get them the ball, that they were going to make plays just off of their physical talent.
Yeah, but that's what I mean, that we've had playmakers too. But if you can't get them the ball, they equal zero. The math equals zero. I don't care who you have at receiver. If you cannot deliver the ball to them accurately and on time, make them to be open. Because everything in the NFL, like we talked about Denzel Ward, and you talking about, all these elite cornerbacks, those receivers are covered. They're not open. You're not running free down the field. No, you're covered. So if you're covered, then like I said, your quarterback has to be able to fit the ball into a tight window. And I know Jacoby cannot do that. He cannot. That's just not his thing. He's going to scramble a little bit. He's going to keep a play alive for a second or two, just so he can hit a tight end or, hopefully hit a safety valve. And that's what you're going to get. That's literally what you're going to get. You're not going to get like Fitzpatrick going in there and throwing 40, 50-yard bombs down the field, or even 30-yard bombs down the field. His average attempt, I believe, is around 10 to 15 yards. He doesn't even attempt the ball that long. So that's what I'm saying. You're going toward a player that has a low attempt radius, and you're saying, okay, well, they're just going to load the box up with 8 men and dare you to beat me throwing the ball with a quarterback that is his handicap is throwing the ball. I mean, it's just a recipe for disaster in my eyes. I mean, I really don't understand why they wouldn't go after Jimmy Garoppolo, because I believe his passing ability would make it go over the top. Where Jacoby Brissett, you're just asking for more of the same. Yeah, you're just asking for more of the same with Jacoby Brissett to a lesser degree. And I think that is the part that kills me. The more of the same to a lesser degree. That's crazy. That don't even make sense.
And my opinion is, and I guess we're going to move on from this, but my opinion is that utilizing the draft capital that would be used in order to obtain him, I'm talking about Jimmy Garoppolo, I'm not sure that you're going to get the production to justify it. That's my opinion.
Yeah.
I know that he doesn't have George Kittle yet. I know he doesn't have Debo Samuel here. I know he doesn't have Ayuk here. And I just see the formula, and I know what his ceiling is, and I just don't see him keeping the chains going the same way he did in San Francisco here.
All right. Well, the one team that is keeping the chains going in the city that we call the land is the Guardians. And the Cleveland Guardians, I know Cleveland Guardians, not the Indians. The Cleveland Guardians are, what, 8 games over 500? They play in a soft division. I'll give you that. I'll preface it with that. I mean, I know they play in the AL Central, but at the same time, you got to win the games you're supposed to win, and you got to, go 500 in the games that you're not supposed to win. I've seen them play toe-to-toe with the Dodgers. They never really match up well with the Astros for whatever reason. I mean, they had a series with the Astros where they got completely drubbed, but at the same time, it was still, they're still there. They play hard. They do the best that they possibly can. And right now, they're 2.5 games up first place in the AL Central. And Dad, you say that you've watched every game this year, or at least the majority of them. I mean, what do you think about this team and the job that Terry Francona is doing?
I believe that the Indians organization as a whole, headed by their general manager and Terry Francona has done a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful job. And they always do from year to year, developing young talent into being competent major league players. Their pitching staff has went through several injuries this year. Aaron Savale has missed multiple games, and so has Zach Plesac. And they've been able to piece together a starting rotation. They've been able to coach up Tristan McKenzie to being a major league pitcher. They plugged in a whole new infield. They plugged in outfield players. And they have had a magnificent season. I'm not saying just good, but magnificent. Most of these guys that are playing in their baseball games don't even have 1 year of full major league experience. But yet they're in first place. It's an epitome of what an organization should be. It's an epitome of what coaching is. And they manage their farm system wonderfully. So their player development and everything is outstanding. It's the top notch of Major League Baseball. And it's an envy for every team that's in Major League Baseball. I believe that they will make the playoffs. And for this team, as young as it is, to make the playoffs, for it to be able to grow and have pieces that will be together for years, I believe the sky is the limit in the future.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I mean, here, the Indians are, the Indians, there I go. The Guardians are, to me, like you said, they embody the city. They fight, they work hard. And I think that I love watching Francona manage them, because he just keeps their head in the right direction. He keeps them playing the right way. And I think that that's the number one job of any coach, is to keep the players playing the right way and to keep their head up and to understand that, if they lose a battle, they didn't lose the war. And just because it's 162 games. I mean, you lose a couple games in a row, you can't just throw in the towel. So I obviously they haven't done that, and they fought back. I have a coworker who says, the Indians they're just a flash in the pan. They'll go on a 30-game losing streak or whatever. And I think that they went on a long losing streak, like maybe 8-9 games or something. But they came right back. They fell back, but they actually came right back to relevancy. And I think that that's a testament to the team, testament to those young players, and testament to Francona's managing that team.
Absolutely. Like I said, their resilience, man, is top notch. They understand that it's a long season. The coaching staff understands it's a long season. It's going to be ups and downs. You're going to have players that you're going to have to plug in because of injuries. They have done an outstanding job. Period. They have developed players like Rosario and Jimenez. Our middle infield was first and second and third, and shortstop. second and shortstop, and have done wonderful. Both of those players have had all-star seasons, and they have limited time starting in Major League Baseball. And like I said before, their ceiling is just astronomical, and it is a testament to the total organization of the Guardians.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, here, and the Guardians, I don't believe that they go into every year believing that they should win a championship every year. I don't think that's their thing. But they go into every year thinking that they're going to field a competent team. And I believe that they do that year in and year out. So it's a big testament to them. But one team that's in Ohio that goes into every year believing that it's a championship or nothing is the Ohio State Buckeyes. Now, the Ohio State Buckeyes down in Columbus, they go into every year because every year is should be a championship year. And we talked about the Guardians being ahead of schedule. I believe the Buckeyes are on schedule because they have a junior quarterback in who, Dad?
In
C.J. Stroud. And they have who at receiver?
Oh, they have J.S.
Oh yeah. So and then who's their running back?
Oh, Mr. Henderson.
Okay. Yeah. So you got Travion, you got Jackson, and you got CJ. So ultimately, those three players could win the Heisman. They won't because obviously one takes away from the other one, so you'll never have. I mean, that won't happen. I mean, I think the most likely is probably be Stroud because it'd be the quarterback of hopefully an undefeated team. But at the same time, Ohio State is primed for some big things coming up this year. What do you see first game of the year, right out the gate against Notre Dame, against our former player in Marcus Freeman, him playing against his alma mater? What do you think Notre Dame is in for week 1?
Well, first of all, I want to give a little shout out to Marcus Freeman being hired. I mean, he's a Buckeye, and he was hired at Notre Dame, and that's a wonderful achievement.
Yeah.
But I also want to say this. Marcus Freeman knows exactly what they're going into Columbus and what they're going to receive. Listen, the Buckeyes offensively are loaded. With players at the skill position of it are not just going to play in the NFL, they're going to be first-round picks.
Yeah.
Period.
That's tough. You're going to be a first-round pick. That's tough.
I mean, that's tough.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking about the best receiver in college football. You're talking about one of the two best quarterbacks in college football. And you're talking about one of the top 5, if not the top, running back in the league. Then you're talking about their backups being 5-star recruits, players that have wonderful futures of their own coming up. We're talking about like Marvin Harrison Jr., for instance. We're going to have big seasons, and we just reload, and it is so inspirational to me to know that I can go into every college football season and say that in Columbus we're going to field a team that's going to compete
Every year.
every year.
Yeah.
And what Notre Dame has coming their way, Marcus Freeman knows that scoreboard is going to be lit up.
Yeah. Here, the only hope that they got, remember that's what I was talking about, is typically the best way to catch Ohio State is the first couple of games. I've seen them struggle against tough non-conference opponents in the first couple games. I've also seen them roll them, but I've also seen tighter than usual games right out of the gate. So I think that, while they're working out the kinks, it's easier to play them in September than it is to play them in November. So, I mean, we'll see how that all plays out. But it's always fun down in Columbus. I think, them being ranked at number 2, I mean, it's hard to say 1, 2, 3, especially at the beginning. I always said it's hard to say who the number 1 team is going to be going into any season without them playing a game. You don't know how these teams look. You don't know how the talent on the field will mesh. You don't understand. You know, every season is different, so it's hard to project rankings right out of the gate. I think that that's always been tough, but you know, I mean, here being ranked number 2, that's like normal for Ohio State. Normal, you know, number 2, number 1. That's just what we do. But we're gonna go out there, and I believe that Notre Dame is in for a rude awakening when they play in Columbus. I mean, that first week is gonna be crazy. Ryan Day got a taste of losing to Michigan last year, and I think that's not going to be good for the rest of the Big Ten or for college football in general, because he doesn't like that taste. I know he doesn't like that taste, and that's not something that he wants to make a normal occurrence of, and I don't think he will.
It will not be. It's going to feel them all season long.
Yeah.
The same way that it has for the all season.
Yeah. So
this is something that loss to Michigan is such a thorn in their craw that, listen, they're going to be motivated this year, unlike when we lost to Oregon, and that when you were talking about the September games.
yeah.
They ended up being disappointing. I look at that Oregon game, and I look at the team that we have now. They've experienced defeat. They have experienced the playbook and the personnel and everything. So therefore, they're going to get off to a faster start than C.J. Stroud did when he was a freshman. So therefore, I'm looking for them to roll.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, yeah, right on schedule. They should be rolling right out the
They
gate.
roll.
Yeah.
And they will roll.
Yep.
The question is will the defense support them?
Yeah, and that's what we were talking about with Jim Knowles coming over from Oklahoma State. You know, defensive coordinator. I mean, you know, I heard that he's bringing in some disguises that Ohio State normally doesn't run. But you know, he has a track record of success. I mean, it's hard to argue with it. He has all the talent in the world at his fingertips. Down in Columbus, but you also got players on the defensive side of the ball that got to step up. You know, I mean, you know, 5-star recruits. There's always 5-star recruits. You go to Ohio State, you're a 5-star recruit, but that doesn't mean much besides to the recruiting sites. When you step on the field, though, you have to prove that you're a 5-star recruit, and you have to play as such. And I think, you know, in these past couple of years, that hasn't been the case. But I believe that this year, I believe that things will be different. And I think that you're going to see a reinvigorated Ohio State defense go out there and really wreak havoc on these teams. I really do.
I think that the defensive coordinator, Jim Knowles, coming in from Oklahoma State is going to be huge. Last year, he had the 5th-ranked defense in college football, and he did not have the talent that Ohio State has. So therefore, of course, we're looking for the silver bullets to be able to return to what we're normally accustomed to as far as being the silver bullets. They have all the talent to be able to do it, and I believe that they will produce better than they did last year. They only need the defense to be middle of the road, along with our offense, who's going to be prolific, to be able to win every game of their schedule. And that's truly what I expect. My expectations is like in the AP poll, they have Alabama and Ohio State 1 and 2. The coaches poll the same way. I expect to beat Alabama for the national championship this year. Because this team, and I know people are going to say Ohio State fans are always hyped up or delusional. We expect too much. But this season can really be special. People offensively, you really truly have an offense just like Alabama had when they had the wide receivers, James Williams, and all of those players.
Well, no, but before that, when they had the Heisman Trophy winner, when they sledgehammered us in the playoff.
With Justin Fields still, they had the wide receiver core and playmakers on that team that were just special. And it was always going to be hard for us to compete.
I mean, here, it's almost akin to LSU and Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase.
And Jefferson.
And Jefferson,
Right. It is akin to that. And this year, offensively, there's no team better in the nation. Period. Going into this season, the expectation for our offense is to score many, many, many goals. So therefore, I'm looking forward to the season. I'm looking forward to this Notre Dame matchup. It is a huge matchup.
Huge matchup.
Historical teams. And for it to be happening September 3rd, early in the season is amazing because it's going to kickstart the NFL, the college football season. And I am so hyped. Buckeye Nation is hyped. And I'm just ready to get it on because we're going to have a wonderful season this year.
Oh yeah. So here, I mean, ultimately, we're just going to just continue to do what we do, Pop. Just continue to try to turn out the content. Continue to try to bring you guys the up-to-date coverage of the Cleveland sports scene. With the covering the Browns, and now getting into the Guardians a little bit as we get closer to October, and obviously always tracking the Buckeyes. So just stay tuned. Subscribe, like. If you like what you hear, you know what I'm saying, just subscribe and keep track of the show. And then I will catch you next time, brother.